Hi, hey, hello. Welcome to a Market Down production. Fuck Tony Khan, am I right? Anyway, my name is John Mulaney. I'm joined by Nick Kroll and TJ Miller, respectively. We are here to talk about wrestling. Uh, I couldn't think of a third for that trio. Sorry, James. But you were great in Cloverfield, one of my favorite movies that doesn't get talked about enough. So,
Can I be Nick Kroll? I look
Nope.
like him more.
Absolutely Nick Kroll.
That's true, but personality-wise, I should really be Nick Kroll. But I'm not a big Nick Kroll fan, so I just wanted to be John Mulaney. But anyway, we're here to talk about wrestling and all the things going on. This is Market Down. We're famous. We have 400 subscribers, and when we get 420 subscribers, 2 random members of our podcast will do our next review after that's stoned. We won't tell you who. It'll be up to you to figure it out. You probably won't be able to. So we're starting off right off the bat with a sad, depressing, and very unfortunate story. And that is that Tony Khan has a stick up his butt. And it's just so sad. The poor guy can't walk straight with that fucking stick up his butt. It's just terrible. You see, our very own T. James Miller himself, when we were all at Grand Slam, every single one of us was at Grand Slam, James took it upon himself to record the dark segment, not the AEW dark segment, but the dark segment after the show. I put it on YouTube like plenty of people do all the time, like small channels do, like no-name channels do, like big channels like What Culture does. And for some reason, Tony Khan has it out for us. People have been supporting his show because most of our views come from our Dynamite review, not from my Raw review, not from the NXT review, not from the Impact review. I don't know why I made a meal out of that one. Sorry, James.
It really hurt.
Most of our views come from people who know you too. So it's even it was even meaner of me. But they're coming from my Dynamite review. But yet, for the second time, Tony Khan has had our video taken down because he is a baby. Bro, you are richer than Vince McMahon, and he has not taken down our videos. James went to the Raw after Mania. He went to WrestleMania, took videos. Shit did not get taken down. This is bullshit. You are petty coke head, Tony, and this is not okay. It is not cool. You're running your company into the ground. You're letting CM Punk bitch you around. You're letting the Elite bitch you around. You're letting MJF bitch you around, but that one I'm okay with for the most part. This is not cool. We're just trying to make it. We're such a small channel. Why are you picking on us? Why are you punching down, bro? What is your problem? Are you afraid? Are you afraid of the marks? Are you afraid that we're going to get too popular and influence the public opinion of your company? Because we are, okay? We are going to do it. Fuck you guys. How dare you? I can't believe it. James, you recorded this video. You held your arms up for minutes. And that sounds like nothing when I'm saying it, but that's a long time. Any of you motherfuckers out there, hold your arm up for a whole minute. Your forearms will be burning. Now imagine doing that for how many minutes you did? 5, 7 minutes? Did you?
It was like 4. It was like 4.
Still 4 fucking minutes, bro. That's a workout in and of itself. Are you kidding me? That's insane. So how do you feel after knowing that all your hard work, this guy just took away like that? Like it was nothing.
I'm not nearly as mad as you are. I am upset though. I wish it didn't happen. I don't think it was hurting anybody. It's not something that they uploaded onto their own YouTube channel. And I like Tony. I'm very upset with how this was handled though. And I'll be honest, I'm afraid to say anything because I like Mega and I think Mega would hurt me. So she can handle her own. We've seen that with AEW history recently, but I think it's kind of messed up. It's not hurting nobody. It's not hurting anybody.
There's a channel that I will sometimes watch, and it's called Trying to Upload AEW Entrances. where they just, as the name would suggest, they upload AEW entrances, which are like ripped from the TV show, not our own. That is footage you took with their own phone. And yes, I understand that's always been a thing when you go to an event that you're not allowed to have home recordings, home footage, but that's different. It's not like that anymore. And it's also just, you can't compare quality. Who the fuck cares? Like I recorded the Acclaim's entrance, but like you could just watch it on TV and it's just, or on AEW's YouTube, and it's way better quality. So you shouldn't really care in that case. It's so petty and it's so unnecessary. And it's just fucked up. Chad, what do you think about this? You were there too. You didn't record anything, but you were there.
I agree with you. I think it's petty as shit. I mean, again, we're not hurting anybody. We're the little podcast that could, and he's clearly just hating. It's hating at this point.
And I get it. Like, we're famous now. We're all wearing blazers. We got to wear sunglasses at all times because we're being swarmed on the street. I mean, hell, at the show, were fans not coming up to you, James, and saying how they were a big fan of yours? Because I know I was there. I saw those fans talk to you.
That is absolutely true. Shout out to the two. You guys were amazing.
You don't even remember. He doesn't even remember their names. That's how many fans we deal with. It's crazy.
We had a Kevin.
And
give me a letter.
Kevin's brother. That's good enough.
Okay, I'll take it.
Kevin and Kevin's brother.
I did good.
Yeah, you did good. That'll make his day. That'll make Kevin's day. But whatever. We got more important things to talk about. Not really, but we have things to talk about. We'll move on. There's a lot going on. And you know what? I'm not going to give you all the details because they keep changing and no one seems to really know what's going on. And you could take what's come from the horse's mouth, but you know what? That phrase, the horse's mouth, is usually doesn't apply when the horse is trying to sell you something, So we don't know if these horses might be trying to sell us a lie or not. So, but to explain the situation somewhat, not really, Malachi Black has asked for some time off. It's been heavily speculated he asked for his release. Not just speculated, reported that he's asked for his release, but Malachi Black himself has shot down these rumors and just said he needs some time off for mental health reasons, which is totally understandable. But of course, a lot of people think he's going back to WWE because Daddy H is there, and everyone thinks that the grass is automatically greener when, as much as he is on the outs right now, I'll still say that despite all the terrible, terrible things he said during the press conference, I personally will always remember the line Punk said, where he said, the grass isn't greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. And Triple H just bought a huge, huge yard and he's got all this grass, but we'll see how it comes out. The fall's coming up. We'll see if that grass lives or not, So we don't know. Again, it's me speculating that he would want to return, but apparently a few days later, or really a few weeks later, it looks like the same thing is applying to Buddy Matthews, who is also taking some time off. He had a very similar promo to Malachi about this isn't goodbye, see you later. And he also shot down rumors of release and just said, who also said he'll be back. You just gotta wait and be patient. So there's a lot of moving parts here, and you don't need all the details because you've heard them by now. They're all over the place. The point is, these two guys need some time off, and it has a lot of people thinking they're going back to WWE and ask for their release, but we won't know until we know, essentially, and that's just how it is. But Chad, you seem like you're a fan of both of these guys. You're a fan of NXT, where they came from, and you're a fan of WWE to a degree too. So what do you think about this? Do you think it's legit? And then aside from that, would you want to see them go back to WWE?
Okay, so as far as legit, I guess I would have to know everything that's going on to know it's legit, because of course Malachi / Aleister Black has given his side of the story multiple times, but at the end of the day, they don't all add up. So they don't all make the necessary sense. However, I do believe in taking time off for mental health and having the mental bandwidth to be a wrestler and getting back into shit. You know, we all know how important that is. And again, I was with him when he said, "Hey, I need a fucking break. Don't speculate right now. I'm hurt. I'm dealing with shit. I'll get it together. And when I get it together, you guys will know." And then that's when we got the news about Buddy, which made it seem a little sketchy. So, I mean, I really don't know. Like you said, it's a lot of moving pieces, so I can't pinpoint what's real and what's not. I just know they're not wrestling at the moment. As far as seeing them in WWE, James said it best a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, even in a group chat, that these are two guys that if they were to come back to WWE, I know personally I wouldn't feel a way about it because I know that they didn't want to leave. They were pretty much pushed out due to budget cuts and whatever other bullshit they was handing them at the time. I also thought that Alistair / Malachi was on the brink of a resurgence. He had just revitalized his character. They were doing a lot of working on it, writing in the background, creative, was gung-ho to debut him on SmackDown, and everything was about to go, you know, amazing. And then Vince, if I'm not mistaken, put a stop to that. So when he halted that, and he halted that progress, now that he's gone, and Triple H, who is absolutely Malachi's father from NXT, when Daddy H came back, I think the lure is back now. So I think it makes a lot of sense if he were to go back to WWE. I'm with you guys. If Buddy goes back, I think he's reached his cap. He can always be a great tag team partner for somebody, but I think he reached his ceiling over there. But Malachi makes more sense than Buddy to me. And if I were to see Malachi back in WWE, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
So if Buddy goes back, there's only one thing of substance he could do, and that's obviously team with Aaliyah to face Dom and Rhea. But then after that, he serves no purpose. So him going back would be a little silly, because as much as he's maybe not getting the push he thinks he deserves in AEW, he's not going to get in WWE. Even with Triple H, there's just no room for there's no room for a buddy or a pal or anything over there. But you know, we'll see how that goes. And Malachi, you know, that one, it's bitter because I think he was doing good things in AEW. You know, I think he started really strong with the Cody stuff. But then, you know, went on a little too long, as Cody feud tends to do. Ask Seth Rollins, you know, who would still be feuding with Cody if Cody didn't get hurt, and I truly believe that. But, you know, Malachi could do more, but I don't know. Personally, me, it doesn't sit right. Like, asking to leave a 5-year deal you just signed just because Triple H is back in charge, instead of maybe being a little more patient and seeing how things go first before you make that kind of decision. Why leave a good deal when for something where you could lobby a lot of the same criticisms at Triple H's WWE that you would at AEW when it first opened up? Like, why don't you, like you guys were saying with Bandito in the Dynamite review this week, you know, he was a little hesitant to go to AEW at first because he wasn't sure how it was gonna turn out, and he wanted to see how things went. And why not do that with WWE if you're Malachi? Like, see how the Triple H era goes. Like, yeah, he's giving love to his guys right now. See how that is come Mania time when all the part-timers come back. See how much things really change, you know? But James, you're a guy with wrestling opinions. Do you have an opinion on this wrestling story?
I'm sorry, Danny. I do kind of agree with Chad a little bit.
Okay.
The man was released by a management official who is no longer there. Like, you could say, oh, it was Nick Khan who pushed for it, or, you know, Nick Khan was the the reason those cuts happened. But cuts only happened because Vince McMahon said yes. That's not the case anymore. Triple H is the guy in charge of talent relations. Stephanie McMahon has a lot more say than she did a few months ago or a year ago. So I can't be mad at a guy who never wanted to leave a place that he liked, that he enjoyed. I can't be mad at him for wanting to be back in that place now that the one thing that caused him to leave is gone, and the person who's in charge now liked him, booked him magnificently, and wants him back. And let's be real, I'm sure it's a lot better to be in this profession and you have a spouse in this profession and to travel with that partner. Like if traveling with Zelina Vega makes his life easier, I get it. All that said, I do agree with you. The man signed a 5-year contract, supposedly, reportedly. He seems to have denied it, I think, in the last couple of days, which is weird because I could swear Tony Khan himself said that it was a 5-year deal.
Yeah, I think he did.
But it's interesting because Black, Malachi, Alistair, whatever we're going to call him. Right now it's Malachi, so we'll stick with Malachi. But Black said when he was leaving or when he was taking time off, if you don't hear it from me, don't believe it. And then basically a day later, the floodgates opened up and all the rumors started coming out. All the reports started coming out. So, and of course, that's what we all did. We started believing the rumors and the reports because why not? And he just kept doubling down. He cut a promo at that indie. He went live on social media a day or two ago, from the time we recorded this, which is Wednesday night. And he's adamant. He has no plans to leave AEW. It's just time off. And don't believe the dirt sheets. Don't believe the reports. Don't believe any of the rumors. And that's all fine. But I can't prove it. I don't have receipts right now on me. But I am fairly certain there have been examples of Malachi saying one thing and then doing another. Which is fair. This is wrestling. Like, why spoil certain surprises? Why admit, yeah, I'm going to AEW? You know, like, of course not. But the SRS tweet that went out, I don't know if you guys are familiar with what just happened in the last day or two. SRS tweeted saying that he had texts, that he had pictures of texts, screenshots, showing Malachi speaking to someone in WWE about figuring out coming back. And then SRS, SRS deleted that tweet. He said it was too hasty to put out that tweet, even though it had been reported elsewhere, which is kind of bullshit. SRS kind of, he jumped the gun a little bit and it wasn't cool. He deleted that tweet and we moved on. Now, the issue is, that's big because one, SRS kind of just burned his source because Malachi Black is going to know who it was based off of the texts. And his source is going to be pissed at SRS. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. I truly, like, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And if he was approached about going back to WWE, I can't even be mad at him about being approached for it and saying, you know what, yeah, this is something that interests me. But going back to what Danny said, the man signed reportedly a 5-year contract, and to just want to leave it, they didn't need to take you in the first place. They didn't need to take Malachi Black. Like, Malachi Black is an amazing talent. I think he has a high ceiling no matter what company he's in. If he's in WWE, if he's in AEW, if he's in Impact, if he's in Ring of Honor, if he's in New Japan Pro Wrestling, I think he has a high ceiling no matter where he goes. That said, he has never not felt like a big deal in AEW. And the only reason I think he hasn't been pushed the way he should be is because, by his own admission, he's dealing with a very serious back injury that he's been dealing with for the last 2 years. And I can't blame Tony Khan. I can't blame AEW for not strapping a rocket to a guy who might not physically be able to hold it together on that rocket. So it's a very crappy situation. I didn't even get into Buddy Matthews. Again, someone else who has a romantic partner in WWE with Rhea Ripley, or in this case, the Mysterio family as a whole. If this was not a PG company, man, there's so much you could do with him and Dom and Rhea. But I don't know, man. I think Buddy, like somebody on Reddit kind of said this perfectly. Buddy Matthews is Kenny Omega for people who don't want to watch companies that have Kenny Omega. And
I think he is, but I think he's gotten a little too brolic now, where it's not as one-to-one as a comparison. He's more jacked than Kenny will ever be, and that's not a knock on Kenny. It's just Buddy decided to become a freak in nature after leaving WWE, as that's kind of the coin flip you take when you leave WWE. Either just become jacked or reinvent your character, or sometimes both. But anything else on the Buddy thing before I move on? Or?
No, I just, again, another guy who was released who probably wouldn't have left if he had his own say on it. And I can't blame him for wanting to be back. But again, you signed a contract, This isn't an example. This isn't an example of a guy who, if the rumors are to be believed that he wanted to go to WWE, this isn't an example of a guy who signed a contract and then realized he doesn't really want to wrestle anymore. Or this isn't Kylie Ray. Remember Kylie Ray, who was part of AEW's like first wave of talent? She was looking like she was going to be one of the faces of the division. She left because she realized she couldn't handle an AEW contract. She couldn't handle the stage that she was on. And she's only ever worked indies here and there since then. That's totally cool. That's in my opinion, and good on Tony Khan for allowing that contract to lapse. Good on Tony Khan for, doing the right thing by that talent. But this isn't an example of that. This is a guy who signed a contract with one company and then realized, oh crap, I'd rather be working with this company. It's not a great thing to do. And now the reports are nobody's getting released anymore because Tony Khan realizes how many of his talents were approached by WWE. So it's a whole new ball game in the company. And I'd say that these two in particular are sort of at the nucleus of it all.
Yeah. And in terms of Buddy Matthews, I will say that the matches he can have are way more intriguing in AEW than WWE. And to a degree, same with Alistair. Like, I don't really want to see Alistair versus the neo-Nazi cross or whatever. Like, I don't. There's not a lot of fun matchups for them right now.
Admittedly, there's one matchup that I think we can all agree would be very enticing. And that would be Black versus a possible, if he's ever coming back, Bray Wyatt.
Amazing.
Sure.
I'd also like to see.
I feel like you would be disappointed, honestly.
I'd like to see Malachi versus Seth.
It happened. It was not great.
Yeah, I would like to see a better representation of that.
All right. I'd be willing to give you that. Malachi Black versus Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black versus Seth Rollins are two different things. Yeah. Yep. But I do get that. And Danny, I do agree with you. I do think the matchup between Bray and Black would be disappointing, but I think the lead up, I think the promos and the rivalry itself would be good.
Nah, I think it would make Black look worse than he is, and I think Black's fantastic. Yeah, I think it would. I think it would be way too lopsided in Bray's favor.
Bray is another animal.
Those are the type of characters that I don't think should mix. Honestly,
that's fascinating.
Like I didn't like at all, even though they didn't face each other. But just the Undertaker coming out after Styles beat Alistair on pay-per-view, I didn't like that. I didn't like the idea of them being near each other because it's just. They're all different types of spooky, and I don't think they mix particularly well. But that's all there is to really say about that. I understand the want to go back, but I think it's too hasty of a decision. Like I said, see how it goes. See if the grass grows over there before you make the decision. There's plenty of time. Especially right now. If you ask Tony Khan like a year from now for a release, I feel a lot different than asking right now, So just just be a little patient. And buddy, Kenny Omega is wait for Kenny to be unsuspended at least, and then beat him, retire him, steal all of his moves, his whole gimmick, and then go wherever you want after that, right? Like there's no need, there's no rush, there's no Kenny Omega. And we're gonna face the fucking Miz, Dexter Lumis. These guys can't wrestle. They'll kidnap the fuck out of you or whatever Miz does, but you know, like that's about it. There's no
Dexter Lumis can wrestle. Continue.
Yeah,
and so can the Miz.
Yeah, like in the fact that they can have matches, yeah, they all can wrestle. Like that's not saying things, but like if Miz went to AEW, you would lose a lot of your love for the Miz. You would be like, oh, okay, he actually is mid, and that would be a stretch. He's like, you know, he wrestles soft style and not in a good way, not in a safe way. I mean, he is safe, but you know, when you're kind of a pussy, you know, of course you're gonna be safe. You know, and I could say that the man's getting kidnapped, so like, how tough can he really be? But speaking of Dexter Lumis, kind of, Candice LeRae made her return to the main roster. I think that holds up, right? They were all in a group together.
Yep.
But she returned on Raw in almost the exact same fashion as her husband in Canada, out of nowhere, in a segment after a recap that urges you to fast forward, but now it's kind of trying to train you into not skipping things so that you have to pay attention to everything.
It's rude.
It is. It's really annoying considering my whole thing is the Raw fast forward. But I luckily just timed out well where I didn't skip the surprise. So I was genuinely surprised that she took on Nikki, formerly a superhero, ASH, and beat her really quickly. And there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with Nikki taking off her mask after the match and crying. Looks like she's going to finally have a character change, which in most people's eyes, you can say is long overdue. But Candice Wrestling is back. She is here to show that she is pretty good. She's pretty good. That match wasn't anything special, I'm not going to lie to you, but it wasn't supposed to be. But she's back. Of course she's back. Her husband's back. This should have been a no-brainer, but because they were spaced out long enough, I think the surprise still hit really well. And she got an okay pop, just like her husband. Even though they were both in Canada, the crowds weren't like as electric for them as they should have been. But she's immediately inserted herself into the Damage Control, what a stupid name, it's no Bailey and Huggers, versus Bianca and Friends. She is now one of the Friends. So that's, in a way, it's good because she's immediately in the story and she's not just back and doing nothing like some people do. So that's good. But she's also just playing second fiddle to Bianca. So that means Asuka's playing fucking fourth fiddle to the other three. Oh my god. Anyway, I'm sorry. This is a good thing. I'm glad she's back. I think we're all happy she's back. James, you're happy she's back, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to see her on TV.
You wanted her to go to AEW?
I wanted her in AEW.
I did too. I'm not gonna lie.
Even though Tony's against it, she's great against the guys. She has a history with a lot of the talent there. And I think she's a talent who could help guide a lot of the talent who are directionless. So, or at the very least, inexperienced. So
I think that's a great point because I do think she would have more to do in AEW than in WWE, which is strange to say because WWE's women's division is so much better.
Yeah.
But right now, what is Candice going to do in WWE? There's no room for her really. She's inserted in the storyline where she will at best be second string to Bianca.
Yeah.
At worst, be third string to Alexa and Bianca. And ultimately is just going to lose to Bailey in probably 2 weeks' time. So, you know, whereas in AEW, she can bring people up. Or here, she is just another name. And I'm sorry, you had more to say, so please carry on. I just thought you made a good point.
No, you expanded on that beautifully. Again, it's kind of the same thing why I don't blame any of the guys who want to go back to WWE. It's like, I get it. My spouse is in the company. I was treated well by Triple H, even though I might not have been treated well by Vince McMahon, or I wouldn't have been treated well by Vince McMahon in their case because they never made it to the main roster, or they didn't want to go to the main roster under Vince's control. But
oh my God, I'm so sorry to cut in again, but I think you made a good point, but I kind of disagree with it. Was she treated that well under Triple H? She didn't do anything until the way.
Well, I mean, she was featured consistently, but she also did get injured for a good portion of it, so I can't really, say too much about that. And beyond being injured, it was also just like a timing thing. When she came back, she was never really in a position to be that person when there were other people who were very clearly ahead of her. But she was always featured. She was in the War Games matches. She was involved in the bigger storylines with Gargano and Ciampa, which is a double-edged sword. I could totally admit to that, being there to support your spouse. But again, featured on TV in a big way. And then when the Way stuff did happen, if I'm not mistaken, she and Indy are former tag team champions together.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, they were.
God. I would never guess that in the million.
She was pushed for a while.
Yeah. So I can't say she was treated poorly under the Triple H.
No, I don't think she was treated poorly, but I think she falls under the umbrella of certain women where it's like, well, what did you ever really actually? Were you pushed that well? There's there's your Rhea Ripley's. And your Shayna Baszler's, and obviously your Horsewoman. But then there's your Lacey Evans and your Elias's, and
I'd say,
were you ever anything really in NXT? And it's hard to say in hindsight because Lacey and Elias are examples of people who did better outside of NXT
roster.
than in NXT. Yeah. But Candice struck me as someone where I'm like, what did she do that was memorable before the Way? And I didn't really watch the Way, but I at least know that it was memorable.
Yeah.
So, before that, I can't think of what she did besides be in the middle of Gargano and Ciampa, 3 or 4, whatever part of the series that was.
And that's a fair point. But again, it's hard for me too because she was injured. So I don't know. I think she's obviously a step below the Horsewoman or Asuka or Rhea Ripley, but she's steps above the Lacey Evanses or the Eliases. So I don't know. I think it's very clear at the very least she had a good relationship with Triple H, or felt respected enough by Triple H that it made sense for her to do this on top of being with her husband, who, again, mind you, they just had a baby. So I'm sure it's easier to do this together than it is to have two parents traveling the country in different places at different times when you have a newborn.
Babies are fine. They don't remember shit. It doesn't matter. This was the time you could do it because the baby's not going to remember shit.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
just going to see all the colors and be like, this is cool. It gets to be somewhere different every Monday and Wednesday. It's great. But, it's still exciting. It would have been exciting no matter where she showed up. But I think, I agree with you, Jim. I wish a little more she went to AEW, but I'm not upset. She's back in WWE.
Yeah.
Either way, it's fine. Either way, she's not going to be a women's champion. She wouldn't have been in either company, and that's okay.
How weird is it that in AEW, I could see her winning the women's championship, but I can't see her winning the TBS championship. How weird is it that it's she's got so much more of a shot to win the world title than to win the second tier title that is clearly so much more important right now.
Yeah, it is. That's a whole other thing, and I don't want to get into it now because I really do hope they wait for Statlander to get back for that title, but that's a ways away. But Chad, you hate women's wrestling, but do you have an opinion on this?
I absolutely love women's wrestling. Well, believe it or not, I have to admit that I was not on the Candice train early. I think I caught wind. I caught wind of her. Now, see, this is where I have to agree with James. I think she was booked fairly because I fucking saw her all the time. especially when I didn't like her, so it was an issue. But around the time of the way when she became important, that's when I started liking her, where I was like, she's not just Johnny's wife. I'm with you guys. I think the debut was kind of weak, but I was still just glad to see Candice back, I guess. So I guess that was enough to hold me over. Johnny's debut should have been much better. I'm gonna blame that officially on the crowd because I think the main roster debut was fine for him. They could have jazzed it up differently, maybe, but when the crowd is not behind you, it's just kind of muddied regardless. So with that being said, I mean, I don't care where she showed up. I'm just happy to see that she's wrestling again because I've grown to like her so much.
All right, that's fair. She's gonna have some good matches along the way, and James said earlier she was in all the War Games matches, and she's clearly going to be in the Women's War Games match at Survivor Series.
For sure.
The only interesting thing is who's going to be the fourth person for Bailey and the Huggers. It'll probably be lame, but it's fun to think about right now. But anyway, moving on. James, how was the Monsters Ball match on Thursday?
It's so much there's so much to process.
Nope. We're teasing you guys. You got to watch the Impact review. He's already spoken about it. Go watch it. He already explained it, and he did it beautifully, might I add. And I think it was a really nice touch for you to describe the match with a poem. I think that was you going above and beyond. You didn't have to do that, which is crazy too, because I was going to introduce us as two rappers and a poet, and obviously you two are the rappers and I'm the poet. So for you to step on my toes and do my thing, that's a good job. I appreciate it.
I was only following your lead because when you were joining me on the pod for it in the Gym Pack Zone, you actually did a rap. And I was blown away and I was intimidated because the rap that I'm going to do isn't going to be nearly as good as the one you performed on the Gym Pack Zone.
You see, you say that, but I've seen the rap that you're going to do. You shared at least a nugget of it with me, and it was brilliant. And Turnabout is fair play, but I'm pretty sure that rap had to be cut because it was really vulgar and there was a lot of taboo subjects on it, and it got really, really fucked up. And I'm not trying to get canceled here, so it's on me for saying it, obviously. But luckily, our editing team realized quickly that it was a bad idea to put that out there for the world. So, that'll be good. But I'll give you do you want a poem right now? I could give you a poem right now.
Yeah, give me a poem right now.
Okay. This is a poem. More of a haiku, really. Poems are easy. Thank you. Anyway.
Hated how good that was.
Fandango, if you will, but I won't, so you don't have to. He allegedly, reportedly, unbelievably has signed a deal with a soon-to-be televised wrestling promotion, or already televised wrestling promotion, and I think it's fun to speculate about it. He just literally a couple hours ago spoke on the CM Punk situation, and he was very, very neutral about it. He basically said I could understand both sides of it, but ultimately I was not there, so it's tough for me to say, which is a really reasonable opinion to have on the situation.
Very mature.
But before he said that, he did go on to say, he's like, I'm old school and I'm an asshole, and if I have beef with someone, I wouldn't stiff them. I would just try to outwork them and be petty like that. So actually, that's not even that petty. That's actually also kind of mature of him. But anyway, there's some speculation to be had. I think we all have somewhat of a soft spot for this man. I think he's done a lot with the weird things that were thrust upon him. Everyone loves the fashion police. And if you say you don't, you're lying. But let's be real here. He is going to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s promotion, and that's
right. That's who it has to be, right?
Yeah,
it has to be.
That's it. It's Freddie Prinze, and that's cool. He's no Bray Wyatt, but he's pretty fucking close. Bray Wyatt shows he's got moves. He had his own dance segment. And where do you think he learned dance moves from? Obviously from Fandango. So Chad, do you have anything on this? Any fun speculation?
I actually thought he was going to the Gym Pack Zone. I don't know why. I have nothing to back this up or justify it by any means.
That's not televised.
Oh,
it is.
shit.
It is. It does better
Access.
on YouTube. It does better on YouTube.
I hate Danny for that. But yeah, I thought it was Impact. That's all, really.
No, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.'s promotion. It's
yeah, no,
it wouldn't have been worded like it would have just been like he signed with Impact.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
you're 100% correct. I wish he'd come back to WWE, even if he did nothing, because I love Fandango.
Unless it's with Tyler Breeze, I wouldn't want it. The Fandango character was great. It lived longer than it ever should have.
Yes.
I agree.
I think bringing it back now would be bad. And I think him trying to reinvent himself in WWE would not go over well. And he would have to be that character. And maybe he's going to try to reinvent himself in the, what is Prince's promotion going to be called? The Prince.
We don't know yet.
Prince's Palace.
I mean, he's been popping up in NWA, and he's known as Dirty Dango there.
I like it.
So
Dirty Dango and the Prince's Palace. All right,
Yep.
That sounds good. There we go.
Yeah, from Prince Freddie to Freddie Prince. It makes sense.
Yeah. She is all that. Anyway. Yeah, that's just a fun story. It's good for him wherever he turns up. I'm sure he has some good ideas. He is someone that strikes me as pretty creative. So I could see him having a Matt Cardona sort of renaissance right now. So, good on him. Sad news, Teddy Long's wife, Tasha, passed away over the weekend. That's unfortunate. Sorry, Teddy. What a weird time to start trending on Twitter. But, well wishes to Teddy and his family. Sorry, guys. I can't make jokes about this because I don't know his wife. So, yeah, you guys got anything? Got any jokes or well wishes or anything?
Is that why he, legit, is that why he was blocking people on Twitter?
No, unrelated. His Twitter was hacked.
Yeah, his Twitter was hacked, and then when he got it unhacked, he gave the somber news that his wife passed.
Yeah, terrible timing.
Yeah, seriously, that guy's got to feel friggin' terrible. I mean, the Twitter thing is nothing in comparison to losing a spouse. I'm Teddy, I'm sorry, but if you're the person who hacked him, you've got to feel like a giant piece of shit right now, right?
Have to. Absolutely have to. There's no way around it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but hey, I think he even said that seeing that people still cared and seeing they was trending on Twitter made him feel pretty good. So, that's something, right? So I feel better, Teddy. If you want to talk, join us on Wednesday. We'll be here for you. But I'm sure you have plenty of other people you can turn to first. But James is pretty good at listening, so he's got you. But moving on, because I don't want to we don't dwell on negativity here on this podcast. We're pretty positive people, especially Chad. Actually, no, this is sad news too. NXT house show is rescheduled due to Hurricane Ian. And where was this house show supposed to be, Chad? In Florida, I assume?
Yeah, Florida. It was two of them back to back. I think the one for either this week and I think one for October 5th or 4th, whatever Tuesday. This is the first week of October.
Gotcha. Well, good luck. I mean, for the house show, who the fuck cares, right? It's so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and even in a smaller scheme of things, in a not so grand scheme of things, it's still insignificant. It's an NXT house show. Who the hell cares? But more importantly, I guess be safe, everyone. I'll be honest with you, you're Floridians. I don't really care. Take care of the animals over there. I care about them. Fucking, if you're gonna leave the state, don't leave your animals behind. Take them with you. And if you're gonna stay, be one of those awesome people that goes around on a fucking boat rescuing dogs and cats in the fucking water. Be a hero. Don't fucking. You're trash people, but do something non-trash. You know, do something good if you're gonna stay. If you're gonna willingly stay in a state that gets hit with hurricanes once or twice a year, every single year for your whole fucking life, that's your choice. Do something good in that time. Help someone else. Help an animal. Help another person. Be good to each other. Don't listen to my message, even though I'm insulting you. Okay, do something good. Take care of the elderly there who shouldn't be there. Leave the state. Why old people move there? It's a dangerous place to live. I don't get it. But anyway, are you guys upset about the house show, or do you have any well wishes for maybe not Floridians specifically, but for just people?
I mean, I have specific Floridians I'm worried about, but in general, yes, you know, everybody down in Florida. I know it was people in Puerto Rico were heavily affected. I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's managing, and you know, we wish you well, and our thoughts. The other thing too is with you, and yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Especially. Yeah. God damn it! Can I say this without making a joke? I don't think I can, but I'm gonna try. Not that you're able to see this, but God, I hope you guys are okay in Puerto Rico. Oh my God. Sorry, that was the best I could do. It's hard. It's hard. It's really tough what you're going through right now. Why is this in our fucking wrestling podcast? I don't know. But good luck to everyone there. Chad, do you have anything to say? You feel like you're gonna make a joke right now, right?
Absolutely not. Well wishes to everybody affected by Hurricane Ian. Thank you. Goodbye.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Has there been a Hurricane James yet?
I'm sure there were 20 Hurricane James by now.
I don't think they repeat names, do they?
Yeah, they got to go through like the whole thing. I don't think so. I hope not.
Well, that's a storm I don't think anyone's going to be able to handle. But we got to move on before I fucking get us off the air. But, I mean, there's not much else to say. Do you guys want to do some White Rabbit speculation to end on, or do you want to end on those bummers?
No, we should end on something positive. White Rabbit.
So maybe we got to talk about something else then. God, have you guys killed any lanternflies?
No. Is that a thing?
Yeah, you guys don't know about lanternflies?
I've been hearing about them, but I don't know what they are.
They're these weird bugs. They're pretty big. They're like maybe like this big. They're spotted, like they're gray with black spots, but then they're red underneath the wings with black spots. And they just look like they'd be poisonous, but they're not. But they just demolish crops, especially grapes. Yeah, so they're kill on sight. You see one, it's your duty to kill it. And I'm not for killing animals, but insects. Don't like bugs unless they're helpful. And those things are not helpful because they just kill crops. They don't do anything to help the environment. They don't add to any ecosystem. They only destroy them. So on site, kill them. But anyway, the White Rabbit, I think this has been very fun. I think it's, like I said earlier with the returns, how they're kind of trying to recondition you so that you have to pay attention to everything because you never know what's about to happen. They're doing that tenfold with the White Rabbit teasers because I have not caught them live because I fast forward through things. But they're training they're rewarding the Eagle Eye fans, and then they're training the other fans to be a little more eagle-eyed and to look for these sorts of things and to look for Easter eggs, pun intended on their part, but and to look for all these little clues to hint towards what could ultimately be the Bray Wyatt return, and if it's anything else, it's garbage. But what have you guys thought about the White Rabbit stuff so far? Chad, or Nick Kroll, what have you thought about it?
I'll repeat what I said in the text thread. Even though I'm with you, if it's not Bray Wyatt, it doesn't make sense. But in this moment, I honestly don't care who it is, because the mystery and allure of it all, the way it's been handled and everything that's been going on with it, I absolutely love. I haven't been this excited over something in a very long time regarding wrestling, or a possible comeback or a debut, whatever. So in this moment, I don't care who it is. However, ultimately, I want it to be Bray Wyatt, but I fucking love it. This shit is great. They can probably tease us for another full month, and I'd be okay with it as well.
Yeah, I don't mind. I know a few people are getting annoyed that nothing's happened yet, but
nah, enjoy the journey. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, like you can't go from like minor, minuscule background things to boom, here's Bray Wyatt. There's got to be a gradual build up, and there's a difference between. There's another channel that I won't shout out because they haven't shouted us out yet, but they say there's a difference between long-term storytelling and telling a story that takes a long time. Like there's this, what I hope this will be, where it's starting slow with little hints and details that you wouldn't see, that you only know because of the internet. So it's an Easter egg that's building up hype naturally, organically, behind the scenes, in spite of the show, that will hopefully lead to more and more progression, some more overt references on the show where it's not a secret and you don't have to do detective work, to the payoff of Bray Wyatt, as opposed to like, I don't want to show on it because you clearly like both these guys, but Dexter Lumis and The Miz, nothing's happened. It's been the same thing for weeks now. It's just Miz doesn't want to talk about it, and then Lumis kidnaps him again and again. Nothing's progressed. It's the same story over 8 weeks, as opposed to long-term storytelling. It's a story that's just taken a long time because they're on chapter 1 of the story every week and nothing has progressed. Don't get me wrong, I'm shitting on them, and I will forever shit on them, but I have some fun with it. I genuinely think this is some of Miz's better work, and that's because I view Miz properly as a lower mid-card guy. So him doing this is in his wheelhouse to me. So I'm getting enjoyment out of it because I think this is the kind of thing he's actually good at. And Lumis is very silly, and he has to be silly. Otherwise, he is a sexual predator, and he shouldn't be on TV. And we shouldn't be cheering him. I mean, we shouldn't be cheering him anyways, kidnapping someone. But like, if they try to make him too serious, it doesn't work. So it has to be a little silly. But the point is that story is just spinning its wheels, and it just happens to be going on for a long time. It's not long-term storytelling. It's a story that's just taken a long time. So like, we're conditioned to want something. And, I don't buy into the whole generational instant gratification shit, but to some degree, that is true, because that's just how stories have evolved, and stories are told quicker. We're not always expected to have patience because supply and demand and everything's just churned out so quickly. So I'd rather have a slow burn that leads to something exciting than jump from an Easter egg to now Bray Wyatt's back and feuding with whoever the fuck, and James Miller, do you have any thoughts on this?
I agree with what you're saying. I think long-term storytelling can be amazing, and I think we are very early on in the storytelling process of what this will be. I understand some burnout just because I think this story feels like it's been going on even longer just because people were expecting Bray a lot sooner. We've been hearing for so long, Bray's coming back, Bray's coming back, Bray's coming back. and then he just never showed up. And now all of a sudden the White Rabbit stuff is starting, and now it's technically only just beginning, even though we've been hearing Bray's coming, Bray's coming, Bray's coming. I'm all for it. I think this is one of the most creative things WWE has done in a long time. I think since, like, the only thing I can truly compare this to is Jericho's debut and Jericho's return, like the Save Us Y2J thing. Mm-hmm. It's just this viral little marketing thing that's just so small. It's there in the background. And if you care, you care. And it's going to be exciting when you get the reveal. And if you don't care, it's not really interrupting your show. And by the time it happens, you probably will care. So I think this is a brilliant play, and it shouldn't be done all the time because then it does lose its potency. But this is a great play, and if it's for Bray, it's a smart play because nothing with Bray Wyatt should feel casual. Bray Wyatt should not return the same way Johnny Gargano did or Candice LeRae did.
Or the way Fandango will.
Eventually.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I agree, but that's also on anyone who's burnt out because that's on you because, like you said, this just started, so it's way too soon to be over it. You know, you gotta give it some time, and I think they have to escalate it in some way in the next week or two. You know, I would like just a little bit more, something that's more on TV and less for us to do the detective work. But I have some faith. I have faith in Bray. I have a lot of faith in Bray. So I think all's well that ends well. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we're tired and we're sick of talking to you guys, and we're sick of seeing your faces. We can't see them, but we're imagining them, and oh boy, we just want to get out of here. We're way too famous for you guys. We're way too famous for this shit. We got things to do. We got places to be. I gotta go on Conan's podcast. I'm probably just gonna cancel though. But you know, James has an MTV reunion special to do. So that's gonna be fun. And Chad just released a music video, so he's got to do the promotional rounds. You know how it is. Are you just doing local radio, or are you going to are you doing like Hot 97 and all the big ones? I'm
everywhere.
Doing yeah, okay. So yeah, there's a lot of
enough said.
Yeah, a lot of promotion going on. It's exhausting. You guys wouldn't understand, but you'll get it one day. But anyway, and Rev's gonna be on SNY talking about the playoffs coming up and how he thinks the Mets are going to do and how he thinks the Yankees are going to lose in the first round. Shockingly, I will add, because I don't think they're going to lose in the first round. I think they're going to lose in the ALCS like they always do. But, that's it. Everyone have a good night. Be safe if you're in the danger zones. Be kind to animals. Don't drink and drive. Read a book. I don't know. Follow us on social media. When we get to 420 subscribers, 2 of us will do the live review Stoned. I'm not going to tell you which 2, but it will be at least one person you don't expect it to be. But anyway, have a good night, everyone. Get out.